Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. I'll be talking a little more about them at the end. So let me get you up to speed. In the last episode, we completed the dormers and sheathed over the barnboard roofing with plywood. We then covered the plywood with a leak barrier. Shortly afterward, it began to rain, which was all well and good. That is, for the side of the roof that was now sealed. But the other side of the roof, with its exposed barnboard sheathing, was still unprotected. Since we didn't want to lay plywood in the rain, knowing how badly it could warp, we hastily covered the unfinished side with a tarp instead, deciding to wait the bad weather out. All we needed was a 2-day window of dry weather to sheathe and seal the other side of the roof. Well, it rained for 2 solid weeks, off and on. Since we couldn't work on the main cabin during that time, we decided to move our portable pop-up cabin to its winter location and set it up there. We then returned to the main cabin where it was still raining. So we decided to install the chimney support box while we waited for a break in the weather. We're just about ready to put in the cathedral support box right about here. So to start, we're going to be putting a platform in that we can stand on. So my dad's grabbing a plank that will slide across, and it'll be supported by a 2x4 that we fastened in there, and the other end will be supported by the loft joist.
It's actually, I think it's pretty good actually. For at least cutting the hole, you'll have to move the chimney itself when you get to that point.
After some careful measuring and marking, my dad put a screw through the roof at each corner where the opening was supposed to be. They were long enough that they poked through the decking and could be seen from above. Okay, I'll start cutting here. Alright. So these, you've tried to compensate so these would come out roughly
where they should be. So if you want to cut, just cut above slightly, or between them even. You want the square?
Well, I think in the beginning I'll cut a rough opening with the saw, and then maybe we'll dial it in. So I might even not cut exactly to the screws either.
It's not very far apart.
No, it's a skinny box. Only 14 inches.
A brief light rain.
Oh, of course, there's a nail in.
Hammer, really?
I might be able to get away without needing to touch it. Okay. Yeah, so maybe let's take the skill saw and just do this to start.
Good.
Thank you. Or if it'd be better if I just took the chainsaw and just cut it.
If you want the chainsaw, I can hand it up to you.
Yeah, maybe I'll take it. Thanks. See, I guess.
Yep. I think they're all tightened up. Just tighten up.
The chimney box is now securely in place. We will still need to tie it in with the roofing once all the layers have been added, but this is good for now. At this point, the weather was beginning to let up, but it was still too wet to tackle the roofing, so I decided to make some lumber on the sawmill while I continued to wait. When harvesting the trees I needed for this cabin, I discovered that some of them, whether by defect or rot, couldn't be used in the cabin's construction. Cedar trees tend to rot internally, so it isn't always possible to discover the true health of these trees until after they've been felled. Although, by observing the tree externally and looking for its telltale indicators, I would have a pretty good idea. However, on occasion, I would inevitably and unknowingly fell a diseased tree. The good news is that although I had to reject these few logs for structural use in the cabin, I could still make good lumber out of them, which is what I'm doing now. The rot is usually minimal and doesn't affect the integrity of the lumber. If there are any bad pieces, I simply set them aside for another use of less importance. Finally, our 2-day window for dry weather had come. And so we wasted no time in getting started on the roof again. The sooner we could get the plywood on, the sooner we could cover it with a leak barrier. Only then could we breathe a sigh of relief during the next rainfall, knowing the roof would be protected. The toe boards we temporarily installed made all the difference for us.
Perfect.
Good. Let me just get right under. All right. It's over. Starting to get tired.
You are?
No, you.
I'm all right.
Don't tell me it's a good fit.
That's good. Yeah, that takes care of the dormer.
Hey, you want to do that one sheet up there then?
Yeah, I guess we might as well.
So far, so good. Now it was on to the leak barrier.
You got one too?
Yeah, I might as well bring it up.
This self-adhering underlayment is a type of ice and water shield. Normally, this kind of product is only used at the most vulnerable areas of the roof, where leaks and ice damming are most likely to occur. For example, at the eaves, rakes, valleys, and around chimneys. However, I've decided to cover the whole roof with ice and water shield. Now, I understand that some people might view this as overkill, and it just might be. But all I know is this roof is never going to leak. We cut the roll into 8-foot sections, laid it on the roof, making sure to overlap the seams by 6 inches, and then it was basically peel and stick from there. The adhesive on the underside of the leak barrier was covered with a backing that could be peeled back and pulled away once the section was in place. We back-nailed along the selvage edge to hold the leak barrier in place while it adhered to the roof deck. The backing is split release, meaning that the top can be pulled away first and then the bottom, or vice versa. I discovered quite quickly that the granular surface of the underlayment was almost impossible to walk on without slipping, even with a tether to hang on to. So my dad and I installed a toe board which ran the entire length of the eave once the first course of leak barrier had been laid down.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes they come unsprung, but it's better than nothing.
We now had a stable platform that we could work from.
It did come up a little bit.
Despite having to work on such a steep slope, it was almost fun installing the leak barrier on the roof. As we moved higher on the roof, we constructed several ladders from scrap lumber, which we tied into the toe board. The ladders, in combination with a toe board, gave us the firm footing that we needed to work on such a slippery slope.
That's about right, eh?
I'm not sure how we would have done it otherwise.
That's better than a boomerang. You okay?
Yep.
Yeah, there. We gotta press it into the corner. Let me do this and you just get it after. Okay, that works. Just about that much. Okay.
The roof is now completely sealed, and so yet another weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Now, of course, there's still work to do on the roof, but I no longer need to worry about rain seeping into the cabin. What's next? Well, I'm glad you asked. Foam board insulation, followed by strapping, and finally the steel roofing. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode and helping to support this channel. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create your website. Squarespace has powerful blogging tools to tell your story, share your updates, and post photos and videos. Stand out in any inbox with Squarespace email campaigns. Our all-in-one platform makes it easy to unify your brand voice. From your homepage to your emails, Squarespace can authenticate with your social profiles, letting you auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr, helping you to grow your social following. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/theoutsider to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Anyway, that's it for now. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, be well, and God bless.